G'day, Scott Newman here, and today I am at Calder Park Raceway on the outskirts of Melbourne. This is an iconic Australian motorsport venue. There's so much history here, but in recent times it's been pretty off limits to the public, at least in terms of the racing circuit. Thankfully that's now not the case. It's back open for business, holding regular track days, and today I'm going to show you around and hopefully the fast-ish way around the track. So come for a drive. Calder Park is one of the most convenient racetracks in Australia, located a mere 30 minutes from Melbourne CBD. But now let's take a closer look from behind the wheel. Okay, so usually I'd start this track guide at the start-finish line, but I'm not going to do that because the last corner of Calder needs a bit of comment. So just here, this tight right-hander, you come off here and then it's an acceleration zone off the track and onto the drag strip. Now even though this is an unprepped drag strip, as you can see, it is super slippery. That little section of concrete there has very, very little grip. So if you're in a high power rear-wheel drive car in particular, you really have to watch getting the traction down out of that last corner, especially as there's just concrete walls each side. And in the wet, forget about it. Even in the dry, it's slippery. But as you can see, we've got this long main straight, which I'll talk to you about next time. But as we come into the braking zone here, get right over onto the concrete on the left-hand side. Hug this turn one, try and get a clean exit. And again, there's some extra concrete you can use here just to widen the corner. I'll just let this Mini behind me past as we talk through over the hump, which again I'll talk about on the next lap. Come up to this really fast chicane that they've actually tightened up. It used to be flat apparently, and we'll see how we go in the BRZ as to whether it's flat or not. But I've driven a couple of faster cars here recently, and I can tell you it was very much not flat. Once again, you can get a bit cheeky on the exit to this second, on the entry of this second chicane. Widen it a little bit. Right, so it's a pretty short lap. I think 7 main corners, about a minute 10 or so in most cars. So again, got a really tight corner here. We open that up, but you've really got to watch as you go across this section. Try and have the car as straight as possible. Okay, so now we've got a very, very long straight. Fast cars will be hitting 250 k's an hour plus down here. The downhill braking makes turn one a bit tricky. You've got to find a braking point, but because it's quite significantly downhill, a lot of weight transfers to the front. Yeah, we can use a bit of that apron on the exit. I think there's not much to do but just hug that first corner and open it up again. Sacrifice this right to get a cleaner exit out of the left. Try and unwind the steering. Again, use some of that concrete. The hump is actually a lot of fun. In a fast car you'll get airborne briefly. The Ioniq 5N here, that got airborne. And if you're in a high power rear wheel drive, it will just blaze the tyres and potentially wheel spin all the way to the next chicane. Again, braking here, use a bit of that concrete apron. Once again, we want to sacrifice this right-hander to open up the left. And it's a tricky corner because it closes in on you on the exit. Use a bit of ripple strip there. Again, we'll just let this fast WRX by. So let's up the pace a bit down this straight. We want to try and get clean exit from that last corner. Nothing to do here but just hold it flat, let the speed build. Now again, as we approach the first corner, downhill braking, so a big hard brake, you've got to wipe off a lot of speed. Then I turn in quite early, just hug that, but then try and open up the steering as quickly as possible. Should have gone down a second there, but that's okay. Again, we'll sacrifice the right to get the left right. Use that over the crest, no problem in this thing, it just bounces over, but it is quite bumpy. And through here you can see on the right hand side where cars have gone wide, and you can easily get thrown into that wall. Again, a late brake here. Use some of that apron to open up the corner. Sacrifice the left. Sacrifice the right so we can carry more speed through the left. This is a deceptive corner. It's really quite sharp, but you can open up the steering quite early to get a good run onto the straight. Now we've lifted the pace a bit, so go for a slightly quicker lap. And I can talk you around using putting some of the pieces together perhaps. So, I'm not going to go for the last possible braking point, so let's choose 150. Hard on the brakes. Use some of the concrete apron. Hug the apex, but you can wind off earlier than you think. Use that concrete apron again. Sacrifice the right hander to get a good exit out of the left. Bit of oversteer, but no problems. I certainly don't think this chicane is flat, even in a BRZ. You need to be braver than I am anyway. Probably brake at the 100 here. Easy. Again, we want to sacrifice this right-hander to open up the left and watch out for that curb that comes out. And then, final, make sure you get the speed off to avoid the understeer because you want to get a properly good run onto this long straight again. So, it's quite a simple track in one respect, but it's also quite tricky just to get the most time out of it. So let's do a couple of quick laps now and see how we go. Go a bit deeper under brakes. See, as you can see, it gets really quite squirrely under brakes. Hold that there, hold it, but then we want to get on the power. Didn't give me the downshift a second. Oh, see, didn't sacrifice that right-hander enough. So I'm going to get a light brake. Race cars just absolutely monster the curbs there, but you don't want to go near them in a road car because you'll be smashing suspension. This gearbox doesn't give me second as early as I want it. He's going into the pits, that's okay. So this is a sharp corner, but you can get on the power very early, and the earlier you get on the power and the cleaner you get on the power, you're going to get a benefit all the way down this straight. What will we hit? Will we hit 200 in this Auto BRZ? No, maybe, but don't think so. Oh yeah, just. Now will it give me second this time? I'm going to wait for second gear. There we go. Use that concrete apron to your advantage. Try and get on the power early here. Again, up over the crest, no problem. In a high power car that will wheel spin. Just a light dab on the brakes, carry some speed through. A little bit of oversteer. Car does want to oversteer because of the weight transition. Again, we'll go to the 100. Big brake. Wait, back down to second. Oh, went a bit deep there. No, that's actually okay. Bit of oversteer. See, it's a simple track, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a really, really enjoyable track, especially in a road car. We've got the one big brake to sort of test your brakes, but you get to go really fast down the straight. There are some tricky corners, some left, right. It's one of those tracks though that you sort of can't believe they raced touring cars 2 and 3 wide around here because it's very, very narrow. So that is a look at and a guide around Calder Park Raceway. It's super close to Melbourne. It's actually super cheap to get out here. I'm at a drive events day today and it's $150 for half a day. You will not find cheaper track time probably anywhere in the country. So get out and enjoy Calder Park.